What's cracking, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. New video. This video is going to be about two different Sallys at two different times and one incident. So after the riot in Pelican Bay in 2000, I'm in that SEG, and you know, when you're in the hole, when you're in the cell, when you're in prison, period, you're going to talk about different incidents, different people, things you've experienced, stuff like that, you know. And so my Sally tells me this story. He asked me if I had been to Salinas Valley, right? And I told him, no, I haven't been there. And he said that when he got there, I believe it was his first day on the yard. He was coming out for yard, and immediately it jumped. And I remember he said he was pissed, and it happened. It was an incident between the Southerners and the Bulldogs, right? And he was telling me he was pissed off that he didn't have any knowledge of what was going to happen. He felt like he should have been made aware. And, you know, the fellas let him know, like, hey, Holmes, we didn't know this was going to happen either, right? And so we went along, you know, kept talking and, you know, about different things that day. And it didn't really, you know, I remember the conversation. I have a good memory for a lot of things that you know, were talked about and done and stuff in prison. But it was just one of those things where it's a story and then you move on, right? Again, this was in 2000 in Pelican Bay. Now, I get out of the shoe in 2001, right? And we leave Pelican Bay. I'm going back to New Folsom for the second time. And there's a guy on the bus. Well, there's a guy in the holding area when we're waiting to get on the bus. And you know, you're like, hey, Holmes, what's your name? And I didn't know him, but he knew who I was. And so right away, he's like, oh, yeah, I know who you are. You know, so-and-so. And he says, hey, let's sell up. And in my head, I'm like, damn, I don't even know him yet. But all right. I can't say no. So I'm like, all right, yeah, when we get down there, we'll hook it up. So we wind up going down to New Folsom, and we wind up being Sally's. And he tells me about an incident in Salinas Valley. He had made a bet with a Bulldog. And I don't remember how long had gone by, but he decided, I'm going to go down and I'm going to jam this dude up about this bet. So he's by himself. He walks over to where the Bulldogs were. And he says, hey, Holmes, hey, what's up with that bet, man? You lost that bet. Where's my money at? And the Bulldog responded with, you're paid. So the Bulldog made the decision, I'm burning you, Holmes. Now, I didn't ask him why, but when he told my Sally, you're paid, my Sally pulled a knife out and started stabbing the dude. The Bulldogs jumped on my Sally. And as things go, those of you that have been to prison know, everybody started moving. That was the same incident that my Pelican Bay Sally was talking about. And I remember thinking to myself, this is a story the homie was talking about. So I asked him, I said, hey, did you tell any of the homies that you were going to go down there and jam this dude up? And he said, nah. I said, well, why not? He said, because I didn't expect this vato to even act like that. I said, Well, how much did he owe you? And he said, $5. And I was like, serio? Like, you put everybody in jeopardy over $5? He said, nah. I put everybody in jeopardy over principle. That's the thing, I think, when it comes to doing time. You know, I read a comment earlier, and somebody was bringing up the fact that I refer to certain men in prison as the legends. There's several reasons why I do that. First of all, in the joint, you're not supposed to even acknowledge the existence of certain groups. You're not supposed to throw them words around, those names around, let alone those that are a part of those groups. And so if I didn't do it then, I feel like it would be cowardly of me to get out here and then just be frivolous with stuff that isn't supposed to be made frivolous. And so I came up with a word, a term that other people have actually picked up and used. But for some reason, there are some people that think that me using that term is glamorizing certain groups and certain people. It's not. Whatever your definition of legend is your definition, but don't try to define mine. You know what I mean? But there was a guy in the comments, and I mean, I to me it was obvious what channel he must really be into, because he started calling guys names, and I was like, you would never ever do that in person, so why do it in a comment section? Why do the stuff on a camera? If you don't like certain people and you don't like what they do, you don't have to pay it any attention. You know, I found out last night, you know, I've been attacked again, and there's, you know, a bunch of lies. It's always lies. That somebody made a video that I lied about a video, and that they found the video it's on my channel. But I just trip out on how people who lived a certain way, supposedly for decades, get back into society and they let a good habit go for a bad one. There are things that men learn in prison that they can apply out here to help them succeed. That are actually really good habits to keep, but they get lazy. And that's why I laugh when people say Dubs acts like he's an active vato in the streets. And what does that even mean? I conduct myself the way I've conducted myself for a very, very long time. Anybody that knew me then would say, yeah, it's the same vato, same guy. I don't know what I'm supposed to be in someone else's eyes. And I really don't care to try to be what you want me to be. My cellie kicked off a riot with another faction over $5. And yet, it was principle that he did it for him. How he didn't get touched up, I don't know. I guess a decision was made, and it was decided that he conducted himself like a man. He didn't drag other people in and, hey, Holmes, can you come with me? I got this debt. It turned out it's $5, because I think more than likely the homies would have been like, $5? Let that shit go, Holmes. Fuck that dude. Just don't deal with them no more. This dude had different principles. You owe me, I don't care if it's $1, you got to pay me. And a lot of people in there are like that. I just wanted to do this video because to me, I thought about it right now. It popped up in my head. I was like, man, Two different Sallys. One had no idea what was going on. And I wish I could have ran into him again and tell him, hey, remember that shit that happened? You know, it was actually over $5. He probably would have went crazy. But that's prison. That's why I tell you guys all the time, man, it is not a place you want to go. It's not a life you want to live. If you want to really find out how tough you are, and more than anything, how smart you are, you'll find out in prison. And I'll tell you right now, there are a lot of dudes that are willing to do all kinds of violent things. Those usually aren't the guys at the top. Because no muscles move without the brains telling it to move. So those of you guys that you guys got balls that drag and you'll turn down nothing and all this stuff, cool. There's a job for you in there. Those of you that sharpen your most important weapon, you're on a different level. Anyways, man, just some food for thought. Just a rambling video. Hopefully somebody got something good out of it. Everybody, please be safe, be smart, and tell the ones you love that you love them, man. I'm out of here.